Hey there, toy collector friends and Doctor Who fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector, and this is something that I never thought I'd get, but I picked it up. I think it was Master Replica or Sci-Fi Collectors. They were, either way, one of them was doing a deal or a clear-out sale, or clear-out deal, and so they had this. It was special number 21. It is the Dalek Gunship, as produced by Hero Collector and Eaglemoss, and as appeared during the time of the Doctor, featuring Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor. So that's this is what the box looks like. Here's some product art, and it's a really interesting looking model. If to be honest, I was trying to work out how they were going to do it. So spoiler alert / full disclosure, I've already taken out the polystyrene inlay, mainly because I wanted to show you what it looked like. So I'm going to move this now out of the way. Whilst I'm doing that, if you wish, it would be a good time to quickly like the video, because it saves time later. It's a snow-capped Borg cube. Yeah, like the video, and whilst you're at it, a subscription to the channel would be adorable. It really helps the small channels like mine, but currently particularly mine. And also it's really helping me get to my next subscriber milestone. So I personally would be hugely appreciative. So without further ado, as I say, I've cut into it so I can show what how it's packaged. And it looks wonderful, but this is how it's packaged. Check this out. So you have the actual model here, and you get these 3 dinky bronze Time War Daleks popped in there for safety's sake. So I'm going to quickly get this out and pop it in the display area to have a look at it. So please don't touch that dial. Okay, so I've managed to get the ship out of the box. It's a gunship. You wonder why Daleks need a gunship, to be perfectly honest, but it is wonderfully detailed. I'll tell you what I didn't like. I didn't like getting the small Daleks out of their little cubby holes in the polystyrene. There wasn't super amount of resistance, but there was enough to make me very conscious that those little aspects of the Dalek could break off. They are, and they feel, extremely fragile. And so just so that you can see, you see it just jumps out at the first opportunity. They are beautifully bronze in colour. I hope that the video is doing it justice. Let me zoom in on it so you can see. So considering how tiny it actually is, the detailing is pretty nice. There's nothing on the base. A little sort of felt section may help it be less slippy actually. But it's, considering how small it is, it's not a bad model. But again, you can see the eye stalk and the manipulator arm and the blaster weapon. I would have grave concerns about them snapping off, and I will be doing my utmost. It's an interesting hump situation going on in this model. I'm doing my utmost to try and avoid that eventuality. So let me see if I can. So I pop him back in there so he can operate the ship. And I'll stay that close for a second, just because I think it's really nice to give you an insight into the into the detailing there. Let me get myself straight. So you can see this wonderful sort of these sort of almost hydraulic designed arms on these panels. The Daleks there on the inside. There's a bit of a fusion of things here that jumps out to me. This central section here reminds me, everything a bit reminds me of the Emperor Dalek that you may have seen in another video, but it's the bronze one from the Time War. But this aspects of the design here remind me of the Emperor Dalek, which would make sense because things were being designed in his image, I suppose. But this also reminds me a little bit of something Imperial from the Star Wars saga, but I can't quite put my finger on why. Again, these slats around the edges are beautifully done, and they remind me a lot also of the later design of the Sontaran warships. And it might be something that we see in the new range of Doctor Who figurine stuff. There's some detailing here on the top, and here of course is another gun stalk where you'd normally see an eye stalk. So you've got some nice red detailing there. The orbs are really, really well done. I'll pull out again now because I think we've done enough sort of close quarters type stuff there. But I'll keep going around. And then you can see, yeah, you can see that very, very powerful looking gun stalk there. And it sits atop a rotating, almost like a Dalek head, almost. And again, another thing that jumps into my mind when I'm looking at this, it's another Star Wars, possibly a Star Wars influence, but I don't know, is it reminds me a little bit of those probes that we used scouring planets like Hoth. It just has that sort of sense to it. I do love we get these three little Daleks that sit in those sort of control bays. It's a shame there's no detailing on those bays, and there isn't, so you know you're not missing it. There is a golden type of string, I suppose is what I call it. It's not. It is part of the mould, but it's pulled out in some sort of goldish paint around the edges there. You can really see the detailing here on that sort of hydraulic section. I get a sense that these would sort of connect in and fold up, and they open up to enable the ship to fly around. I mean, it's can be picked up. It supports itself on the struts of the panels on the side rather than anything else. There's an element of tubular design at the base, but it's really just those segments that you can see there. There's nothing of any particular detail. And again, that head, I call it a head, it's obviously not really a head, but I really like the way that militaristic Dalek-esque head is where we would normally see the eye stalk. It is in fact another gun. I still question why a Dalek needs a gunship. I suppose taking on the Time Lords is a bit of a nightmare. There are these spikes here on these sections, presumably to stop people getting close. Maybe they're an energy weapon. This didn't come with a magazine because it's part of the stock that was rescued post Eaglemoss's collapse. There was no magazine with it, so I don't know. I can't do any quick reference checks to see what any of this actually pertains to. But I do think it's a really, really, very easy to fall off the side there, a really, really lovely model. And a really nice complement to the other Dalek models that we've got and that we've seen. I'm you know, it obviously the little Daleks don't scale remotely well with the rest of the sort of well, the Parliament of the Daleks figures that I've been collecting, but they do allow scale for the gunship, so you can sort of go, wow, this is how large that thing actually is, and so I like that. It isn't a natural fit into my Parliament of the Daleks display plans because of the scaling issue, but I will give that some due consideration and think about what that might have to look like moving forwards. But again, I do like the concept. It's very robust. It feels very robust. It feels very solid. Even when you pick it up, there's real weight to it. I'd only ever pick it up here. I wouldn't pick it up by those panels because I don't know if they would bear the weight particularly well. But I remain very mindful, as with the majority of Eaglemoss models and Hero Collector models, they are not designed for any kind of vigorous play. So, you know, if you had two of these and a resin TARDIS, because I know they released the 11th Doctor's TARDIS, I wouldn't bash them into each other because I really don't think they'd survive. Bits would chip off, and it's such a nice piece. The 11th Doctor's TARDIS exterior, maybe not so nice. This one is a really nice piece, and I wouldn't want to damage it. And again, given that we're not going to see any of these Eaglemoss molds being reused in future releases by Master Replica or anyone else who's got their licenses, when there are none left, there are none left in the world. They're a done deal. So the fact I managed to get one in good condition in excellent condition with no damage, I intend to do everything in my power to keep it that way, as you might expect. So yeah, what do you think? Did you pick this up when it was first released? Are you impressed with it? Have you had any problems with it? Any breakages? Is there any particular weak point that you, either from unfortunate experience or from some sort of fortunate avoidance, are able to share with me, and indeed anyone else who might be looking for this out in the wild? That you can find things, you know, the fact that that range, as I'm saying, is no longer in existence, don't be put off by that. You can find them. I still find Eaglemoss ships, both Star Wars, Doctor Who, other stuff, available at conventions. London Film and Comic Con, for me, prime example. There's always people still with stock that they're letting go. Some of the stock significantly marked down. Some of the stock quite the opposite and significantly marked up because of its rarity. But they're out there, and you know what? If it's worth it to you, it's worth it to you. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, I was very lucky to get this before it went out of stock, when it was restocked. But keep your eye open. You know, if this is something that you fancy and you like the look of it, and to be honest, there's nothing to not, well, in my opinion, there's not really anything to not like the look of. Again, it is a model, it's on a toy, so it doesn't have any sort of action features. But I think it is really well done, and I think the inclusion of those 3 little Daleks really makes it, particularly because you can adjust how you frame them, so you're not stuck. They could easily have been just molded and stuck, but they're not. They're separate, so you can have a bit of a play with that, which I also really appreciate. So I suppose there is a play feature with that, if I'm honest. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think of this. If you haven't already, please drop a like to the video. And as I mentioned earlier, I am desperately trying to get to my next subscriber milestone. So if you could subscribe, it's completely free. There is no catch. There's no hidden costs or anything like that. It's literally just a subscription to the channel, so you never miss a future video. And of course, there's no obligation to watch every single video that comes along either. Anyway, thank you very much for spending the last 15 or so minutes with me. You've been fantastic. I've been the Time Travelling Toy Collector, and this has been the Dalek Gunship, released as part of the Eaglemoss Doctor Who figurine collection. And I'm very, very pleased to have this in my collection. I look forward to seeing you in a future or past video, and it just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Bye-bye for now.